Do pools of blood freeze? I don't know. Probably, but that's not the question. It's how many pools of blood did Frost receive. So we'll see that shortly here. But first, I'll start off with the IMDb plot. As usual, a young woman and her estranged father fight to survive after being stranded on a remote mountainside during a winter storm. All right. So this is again another new one. So we'll try to be as spoiler free. Definitely going to be spoiler free here. But it's listed as adventure thriller. So as I think you watch the majority of this movie, if you do actually sit down and watch this, you kind of get that. It's seems like a very typical survivor type film that you would see until the end, and I'll kind of swing in that direction shortly. But first, again, the setup is here, like it says. You're here. You have a young woman who's meeting up with her father after a long time. They obviously have some issues, some things to work out. Maybe they don't get along as well as you would think. But she's pregnant, and she's kind of almost in a way breaking the news to her father as well. And excited about that or not, they have some bonding to do. And to do that, they decide to kind of go on a short trip away from wherever it is that he lives. And during that trip, they kind of have an accident. The car goes off the road. Both of them survive, but are basically trapped in the middle of nowhere and cannot really call for help. During this time, there's a little bit of a struggle to get out of the car. The father's able to get out. She's not. So we see the father go away, but then she's still trapped in the car. So the story kind of tilts more in her direction in what she goes through in the car for most of the film, the remainder of the film. They do have walkie-talkies, so they do a little communicating, but in large part we are now focused on the young woman here, Abby, who is stuck in this car, and what she goes through trying to survive just the short amount of time that she's there in the car. And like I said, it's as you're watching this, you're seeing a lot of stuff that you would kind of expect, her trying to do and trying to survive. And, in the cold, it's getting colder as she's there. And, kind of hoping her father will return. She doesn't know where he is. Communication is not that great, so it's not like they're communicating the entire time. And, a lot of the stuff that you would expect to see and happen, and as she's there alone and trying to survive. And, so as you're watching this, you're like, yeah, okay, things are happening, blah, 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 you're watching it. Then we get to probably the final act, the final moments of the film. And as I mentioned, it says adventure, it says thriller, but the horror is at the end of this movie. This is one of those movies where I didn't have the intention of watching it. I was given a screener and was like, yeah, okay. And I'm a fan of Devanny Pinn, who plays Abby in this movie. So I'm like, okay, why not? We'll see what this one has to offer. And like I said, watching it, everything's fine. The survival, they're there. She's trying to survive, whatever. And it's so much that I'll even tell you my watching experience. And for those that have watched it, this may bring up, you may get this better than those who haven't. And if you watch this after this review or whatever, just think about it. So I watched the movie again, like I said. Everything's, kind of standard. She's there, stuck in the car, whatever, struggling, whatever. I'm like, okay, what else can happen to this point? Let me go out of the room and grab something. Leave the room, come back, look at the TV, you're like, what the hell just happened? whoa, did not see that coming. What did I miss? So I actually had to go back, not rewind, whatever, go back a couple of minutes and be like, wait a minute, what just happened there? Kind of hit back a few minutes, watch it, and it was like, almost kind of spoiled because I saw what was going on, but it was like I wanted to make sure that what was happening, and came back to it, and it happened again, and I was just like, holy shit, holy shit. Like, it was not expecting that because, like I said, survival, blah blah. Like, I don't know if I just kind of got into that. Hey, this movie's just going along. Either she's just gonna freeze or she's gonna get rescued. But no, they had to do something else to the extreme, and Devanny Pinn. A+ to you for going there and doing that and signing on and saying, I'm okay with doing that. I think I mentioned it in my review of Pearl, kind of having a scene where, as great of a performance, I think Mia Goth did, great job she did in that movie, but then having this one particular scene where, you just kind of imagine the people watching that as she's doing that as from filming perspective, and then her, having to do that in front of a bunch of people. Let's just say Devanny Pinn does something absolutely crazy here, and I'm sure we've seen it in horror movies before and whatever. Like I said, I just got so wrapped up in this just being, hey, survival, whatever, blah blah blah. Is she gonna get rescued or not? Just didn't see this happening, didn't see this coming, and they show it, and they show it good enough, and you see it, and I can just imagine what was going on while they're filming, or what she's thinking while she's doing this and acting this part out. I'm not gonna give it away. I keep this spoiler free. All I will say is if you haven't seen it and whatever, or even whatever, want to kind of maybe fast forward a little bit or whatever, you kind of get the gist of what's going on. Don't do like me. Don't miss it. Don't miss it and come back. Let it naturally happen. But yeah, to kind of walk out of the room, come back, and then be like, what is happening? What is? I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give it away. But I definitely didn't see that coming. Maybe if I was pay more attention or switch gears and not think that it was so much survival mode, movie, maybe I should have seen that as a possibility, but it just didn't. But it kind of lets, I try not to say too much, but kind of lets me know, why they did certain things early on, or why her character is a certain way, as is. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, they just sprinkle in one little thing on top of that. And then end the movie. So, good times happening at the end of this movie. So, this is one of those times I'm basically reviewing this movie to tell you that, regardless of whatever you think of the beginning half or the middle half of this movie, or if you don't want to see this movie or whatever, just at least, take recognizing of whatever of the end of this movie. And again, adventure, thriller maybe through most of the movie, horror at the end of the movie. So if you're in for horror, watch at least the end of the movie. I definitely don't want to suggest that you don't watch the entire movie and everything that happened before it. But if you're wanting the horror, watch the end of this movie. But yeah, and A+ to Devanny for the entire performance, but especially the end of this movie. So with that, and because I was so crazed by the end of this movie, I'm going to give it 3 pools of blood, largely because of the end of this movie. I don't know what other options they would have gone for. I think if it was more of a standard ending, probably would have been maybe a 2 pool of blood kind of thing. But they brought the horror at the end of the movie. I liked what they did, as crazy as it was, It's not gonna be for everybody. I think if this was a bigger, widely more released movie, which because of the end of the movie, it probably would never happen. Um, they'd be getting a lot more slack for it outside of horror fans. I think this is something horror fans, at least some horror fans, can at least stomach or deal with. But yeah, just watch the end and then see what happens. So with that, 3 pools of blood, and we'll wrap this up. The horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com. Written reviews and video reviews are there. But if you're just interested in the video reviews, feel free to subscribe, like, don't, whatever everybody else tells you to do on YouTube. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well if you want to reach out. If you watch this movie, then curse me for hell for making you watch the end of this movie. Feel free to do so there or in the comments section. Say, hey, asshole, why'd you make me watch that? Why'd you tell me to see that? I didn't want to see that. But remember, I may have suggested it, but I didn't make the movie, so please. But yes, if just do it, just do it. But yeah, feel free to do that in the comment section as well. You can either applaud me or tell me bad stuff for making you see the end of this movie, or if you've already seen it, try not to spoil it in the comment section, but kind of let me know your reactions to that. I'd be interested. So with that, I guess I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.